5 on Your Side at 10 starts now.
A registered sex offender now accused of being a repeat offender. Tonight, 5 on Your Side uncovers the push to arrest him before his latest alleged assault.
Quite comfortable. You can't always say that to start the month of July in St. Louis when the heat and humidity builds and if it impacts any of your 4th of July plans.
Our top story, St. Louis City's renewed response to the May 16th tornado as storm survivors weather through red tape.
Bricks were falling, gas was spewing, and we had nobody we could call.
Tonight, Mayor Kara Spencer reassuring the public she remains committed to helping St. Louis rebound. Good evening. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. 5 on Your Side's Brent Solomon is just back from the second Tornado Town Hall Forum, where he shared with the mayor information about brand new programs to help those affected. Brent.
Well, Mike Kelly, the new programs center around a few key issues. 1, getting the lights back on. 2, securing your building so that it's not damaged even more. And 3, making sure that you can verify a contractor so they don't rip you off.
Some of these homes have yellow stickers. They cannot be lived in. Yellow sticker don't get you no help. You need a red sticker to get some help.
They extended $7,000 to me. And the value of my home and the contents of my home way exceeds $7,000.
For the second night in a row, Mayor Kara Spencer listened to concerns and tried to offer reassurance. FEMA also on hand here at the Hubert Hoover Boys and Girls Club Tuesday evening.
FEMA can't duplicate insurance. However, once you tell us what your insurance covers, we got to look at what we can do beyond your insurance.
This, as the mayor warned, there are contractors out there looking to rip you off.
We are worried as well about fraud.
The city now unveiling a contractor registry for you to review before you seal a deal.
It allows you to take a look and see if the contractor has a business license, insurance, and relevant trade certifications.
And for those without power due to damaged electric boxes, it can cost some $1,000 to repair. The city now has a workaround.
Within a few days, you should get contacted by the program and somebody will go evaluate your house within 3 days to see and get that work going. These are licensed, contracted electricians who will do the work at no cost.
Neighbors welcoming the solutions and suggesting some ideas of their own.
Please consider some type of community engagement forum, committee, so we can tell you what we need. I know you have a phenomenal staff, but we need to tell you what we need.
The other new city service unveiled today, Ask an Architect, a program where you can get free guidance on repairs that are actually needed at your property. All of this information is available for you right now at KSDK.com. By the way, the next Tornado Town Hall will happen on July 8th. Mike.
Brent, thanks. Tonight, a curfew has been lifted in the tornado-impacted areas of North St. Louis. It's been in place the last 45 days to protect storm victims in neighborhoods devastated by the EF3 tornado.
The family of one of the 5 people killed in the May 16 tornado is now suing the city of St. Louis for wrongful death. Firefighters found 78-year-old Larry Patrick buried in the rubble of his home on Margaretta. He was in the front room when the tornado hit. His family is seeking $25,000 in damages. They claim the city's failure to activate storm sirens and a decaying tree on the city's right-of-way in front of his home contributed to his death. We've reached out to the city for a statement. We have not heard back.
Turning now to our weather impact forecast. A quiet and comfortable first night of July across St. Louis. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell says the heat and humidity will be building back up, of course, ahead of the 4th of July, right,
Absolutely.
Scott?
We can't keep it this delightful for very long, right? And a lot of folks are traveling too, so this stretch of really nice weather that we're enjoying today and tomorrow, whether we have visitors coming in or whether you're getting ready to take a trip out, it's good for air travel in and around St. Louis. Some of our outlying areas tonight have already dropped to 70 or below. Rollins down to 69, 70 degrees in Sullivan. Look at Warrenton coming in with 69 degrees. The Chesterfield Valley's 71, and over in Mount Vernon it's 70 or 69 right now and 73 in Salem. So temperatures are backing off. It's a comfortable night ahead, relatively speaking. Humidity is going to be creeping back in here. A steamy 4th of July weekend is on the way for sure. it looks like it's a dry 4th of July weekend for the most part. We'll put that asterisk there, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But out the door tomorrow morning, plenty of sunshine, maybe a little patchy fog in some of the River Valley locations, and temperatures quite pleasant to start the day.
Tonight, 5 people, including a child, are being treated after a head-on crash in Ellisville. The crash happened about 90 minutes ago on Old State Road, south of Manchester. 2 adults were taken to Mercy with serious injuries. The child was brought to Children's Hospital. No word on what led to the crash.
Sad news tonight from the St. Louis Fire Department. The department announced a line-of-duty death of firefighter Lee Krause. 27-year-old veteran suffered a medical emergency while on duty on Sunday. He died today. The department is asking the public to keep his family, friends, and fellow firefighters in their thoughts and prayers. Tonight, a registered sex offender is back behind bars, facing multiple charges for allegedly molesting a child while out on bond. 5 on Your Side has learned the St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office had filed to revoke Anthony Hawkins' bond weeks ago.
It was not granted until after the latest crime. New at 10, Laura Barcheski has spent the last several hours digging through the court documents.
According to court records, 54-year-old Anthony Hawkins was out on bond for failing to register as a sex offender at a new address when he moved and resisting arrest. Hawkins was previously on the sex offender registry after pleading guilty to statutory sodomy of a 7-year-old boy in 1990. A court ordered Hawkins to be tracked by GPS after these recent offenses. Documents show he had 7 GPS violations on these dates. The St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office filed to revoke his bond after the second violation on June 3rd, but that was never granted by a judge until last Thursday. A spokesperson for the county prosecutor says we do not have the unilateral power to revoke the defendant's bond. The Maryland Heights Police Department says on Thursday Hawkins was in a room with a child under the age of 14 when he allegedly waved a rusty knife around, threatening to stab the child several times. Investigators say, quote, the victim tried to leave the room, at which point the defendant grabbed the victim, relocked the door, and forced the victim to the bed, where the child was sexually assaulted. Police say the victim wasn't able to escape until officers found them. Karen Aresti, CEO of Safe Connection, says this assault is not only difficult for the child involved, but could be for the previous victim as well.
Oh, I think that it is enormously difficult because it reflects a glitch in a system, maybe even the humanity of it all, that saw harm caused to somebody else. The most effective thing that people can do is support their survivors and victims.
Aresti says in society, we have to do more to protect the youngest and most vulnerable.
In some ways, it's incumbent on the advocacy and education community to figure out how many different layers of work we can do in order to allow them to find support. And that's both within the justice system and within the system of people who care for our youngest who are harmed.
Hawkins is now also facing kidnapping, statutory sodomy, and child molestation charges and is currently being held in the St. Louis County Jail. We have resources for victims of sexual violence on KSDK.com.
Tonight, voters in St. Louis City's 8th Ward have elected a new alderwoman. Within the last 2 hours, the final results of today's special election were released. Jamie Cox-Antwi won in a landslide, winning more votes than her 4 opponents combined. She will replace Kara Spencer, who vacated the seat after being elected mayor back in April. Antwi received the mayor's endorsement. Just hours ago, Planned Parenthood supporters held a pink out rally in the Central West End. It marked 3 years since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade and Missouri's abortion ban took effect. Back in November, voters approved Amendment 3, which enshrined abortion rights in the state constitution. Republican lawmakers have approved putting a new referendum on the November 2026 ballot to repeal that measure.
The St. Louis County Animal Shelter is back in good standing after failing a state inspection just weeks ago and losing its license. County officials announced today their license has been reinstated by the Missouri Department of Agriculture. The Animal Care and Control and Adoption Center in Olivet failed multiple inspections in May. Officials say it took a lot of staff retraining and teamwork to get the shelter back on track.
Once we kind of get going, we'll be able to recruit and retain a good workforce, and hopefully they'll continue to join our team and we'll make everyone feel welcome and also continue to increase our volunteers as well.
Shelter officials say they have a high number of large dogs available for adoption. If you would like to foster or adopt, visit the story in the As Seen on TV section of KSDK.com.
3 escaped bison had to be euthanized in Franklin County today after attacking a caretaker. The large animals escaped from a farm on Glen Hollow Lane in St. Albans. The injured caretaker was taken to the hospital. No word yet on the extent of their injuries. Deputies say they had to put the bison down because they were a threat to the public.
We are just 2 days away from a big 4th of July party on the riverfront. Crews are already setting up for Celebrate St. Louis along Lenore K. Sullivan Boulevard in front of the Arch.
The two-day event will feature food, music, and fireworks, and the party kicks off Thursday at 4 p.m. Country singer Russell Dickerson will take the main stage at 8:25. The fireworks spectacular will start at 9:40.
Then on Friday, the 4th, the celebrations start at 2 o'clock. There will be 3 Purina Incredible Dog shows. Gavin DeGraw will perform on the main stage at 8:10. Then a special Superman drone show featuring 400 drones will start at 9:25. That will be followed by a fireworks finale.
And you can enjoy the Celebrate St. Louis Fireworks Spectacular from the comfort of your home. We will stream it live on 5+ both Thursday and Friday night. Watch for free on your Roku, Apple Fire, or Samsung TV.
Fireworks fun turns to fright in an instant.
I couldn't see and I could hear my brother screaming.
Tonight, one family's warning before celebrating the 4th.
They're like small pieces of dynamite.
Tomorrow morning, maybe one of the nicer mornings across our area, especially for July. We're tracking a steamy 4th of July and when that next round of shower and storm chances returns to the bi-state.
Developing tonight, President Trump says Israel is ready to finalize a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza if certain conditions are met. But whether Hamas agrees remains unclear. In a social media post, the president said Israel has accepted the necessary conditions for a ceasefire and urged Hamas to take the deal, warning it will not get better. The proposal, brokered by Qatar and Egypt, aims to end the war that began with Hamas's deadly October 7th attack. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry reports more than 56,000 people have been killed in Gaza since then.
Tonight, President Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill is back in the hands of the U.S. House, where a vote on the Senate's version of the bill could be just hours away. Republican senators passed the tax cuts and spending bill today, with Vice President J.D. Vance casting the tie-breaking vote. The bill extends President Trump's 2017 tax cuts. It also slashes funding to Medicaid and food stamp programs to increase military spending and border enforcement. The bill faces hurdles in the House, where Republican members have concerns about how much it could increase the national debt. President Trump said he wants to sign his spending bill on the 4th of July. The Radiation Exposure Compensation Act is part of the Senate bill. Tonight, Senator Josh Hawley is praising the funding to help people exposed to World War II era radioactive waste dumped in the bi-state. He is calling on the House to quickly pass the legislation, saying, quote, RECA is a generational legislation for Missouri and will finally deliver justice for survivors in the St. Louis region. Hawley did say he opposed the bill's cuts to Medicaid and vowed to do everything in his power to reverse them.
Well, the 4th of July is quickly approaching, which means you're probably hearing the loud pops of fireworks being set off in your neighborhood.
That fun can quickly turn into tragedy. New at 10, Hetty Chang has one family's warnings about the dangers of fireworks.
11-year-old Heather Ocampo is back at UCI Medical Center, but today there's no surgeries, no checkups, just a check-in. Heather's bright smile on full display as he reunited with the doctors and nurses who saved him.
It's wonderful to see him doing so well, both him and his brother, but him in particular had such traumatic injuries. He seems so happy now. It really warms my heart.
Last July, Heather and his brother Dominic were rushed to the ER, where doctors say Heather's injuries were the most severe of several firework-related injuries that week. He lost 3 fingers on his left hand.
He had a colon injury, a stomach injury, and a small bowel injury, all that required resection.
Doctors say it's the injuries you can't see that almost took his life.
There are certain types of fireworks that are essentially loaded with types of gunpowder that explode. They're like small pieces of dynamite, and they cause an explosion which has a wave of energy that passes through your body.
The brothers say they were walking home from soccer practice when they noticed some debris left over from fireworks from 4th of July.
Once we got to my grandma's, we thought it was like a smoke bomb, so we lit it up. I couldn't see it, and I could hear my brother screaming.
Investigators say it was an unused aerial shell like this one, commonly used to launch skyrockets into the air.
Fireworks might seem harmless, but in a dangerous situation, they're not.
Ether has not only recovered, he's back on the soccer field. His mom says like nothing ever happened.
If you look at him, you're like, he's happy and smiling.
Now the entire family wants to raise awareness about the dangers of fireworks and the importance of cleaning up afterward, so no other family has to go through what they did.
We want to help prevent situations like these for people. Just not playing with fireworks because they're very dangerous.
Ether was one of nearly 15,000 people across the country injured by fireworks last year. 11 people died. 37% of those injured suffered burns. 1 in 5 were in the head, to the head, face, and ears, and nearly a third suffered injuries to their hands and fingers. And fireworks are not just dangerous, they are illegal in most areas.
That includes St. Louis City and County. Illinois prohibits most consumer fireworks like bottle rockets and Roman candles. Safest way to enjoy fireworks is leave it to the pros, and there are several displays planned on both sides of the river this week. For a full list, just text the word fireworks to 314-425-5355 and we'll send it straight to your phone.
And Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell here with the weather impact forecast, and hopefully by the end of the week it'll still be nice and clear for people to be able to see those fireworks.
Clear, but humid, right, Scott?
It is going to be
Muggy and
humid,
buggy.
muggy, and we're talking steamy conditions, but we're not expecting rain for our fireworks displays. Remember last year, we had so much trouble with showers and thunderstorms around the 4th of July that a lot of fireworks displays were postponed or delayed or just canceled altogether. We won't have that problem this year. That's looking out in St. Charles. Of course, they have Riverfest in St. Charles going on this weekend as well. We're already down to 77 degrees in St. Louis right now. Our high today, just 86, a little below the average high of 89 degrees. Temperatures are in the 60s farther north of St. Louis. We're going to cool it down into the 60s in most spots by early tomorrow morning. Some of our cooler spots here southwest of St. Louis, down into our valley locations in the eastern Ozarks, we're probably in that 60, 61, 62 degree range. That's not going to last for long. It's a quick warm up tomorrow. We start with plenty of sunshine. We'll get a few puffy clouds tomorrow afternoon. Should be right around 90 degrees for the high, but tomorrow the humidity is still in check. Those dew points similar to today in the lower 60s, but they start creeping up. And by the time we get to Friday afternoon, which of course is the 4th, and into Saturday, we'll definitely be dealing with that heat and humidity. So here's our high temperature map for Friday across the area. You're talking low to mid 90s, but with the humidity, it'll feel more like 95 to maybe right around 100 degrees in St. Louis. Now, we know there's a lot going on the 4th of July around the area. There are parades in many locations. Let's just say it's around 11 o'clock, noon. By 11 o'clock, we're at 88 degrees. Maybe you're getting together with the family, doing a little grilling. 5 o'clock, it'll be sizzling at 93. And then mainly clear skies, but still steamy for the evening hours as our fireworks kick off, probably around 9:15, 9:30 in most locations. Saturday across the bi-state area, it's a big vacation weekend for a lot of folks. If you're going to any of our state parks, maybe camping, maybe taking a float trip, odds are it's dry on Saturday. The focus for the rain is farther north and west of us. We go into Sunday and we still see most of the rain showers and thunderstorms north and west of us, but they will be nudging in our general direction as we head towards Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and it looks like that chance will continue into Monday, perhaps into Tuesday and Wednesday, but with some extra cloud cover and that rain chance into the mix, we pull the high temperatures back down a few degrees into the 80s. And it looks like we may stay in the 80s next week as we keep some extra clouds around and keep those rain chances going maybe through Wednesday and Thursday as well. You can find that extended forecast on 5+.
All right, Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Mike, more pain from the Pirates. The Blues traded a really good player and in return got a player with some baggage. We will have that story when we come back.
And you can now get more morning news on our 5+ streaming app. Join Michelle Lee, Paul Cook, and Gary Frank every morning from 7 until 9 for Today in St. Louis Plus. You can watch for free on your Roku, Apple Fire, or Samsung TV.
This is a stat you are going to hate. The Cardinals have now been shut out in back-to-back games for the second time in the last week. I mean, there have been 3 weather impact alerts since the last time the Cardinals scored a run. Don't blame this guy, Andre Palante. The Italian stallion threw a one-hitter for 7 shutout innings against the Pirates. Remember Tommy Pham? 4th inning, scoreless game, base hit. Pedro Paez. Pham says, "Not today, Wilson Contreras." 9th inning, 1-0 Pirates. Key play of the game. Victor Scott ground ball. Spencer Horwitz throws home, and they get Jose Fermin by a hair. Gosh, was that close. And then David Bednar paralyzed Brendan Donovan. Pirates win 1-0. If any other NHL general manager did what Doug Armstrong did today, they would be second-guessed to death. But in St. Louis, he has quite a resume, so we simply call him Bold. Today, he traded away Zach Bolduc for Logan Mailloux. Kelly Chase told me Bolduc's shot reminded him of Brett Hull's. He's 22 years old. He's coming off a 19-goal season where he was torrid down the stretch. You normally don't trade guys like this. He could be a 30-goal scorer, and it was tough to move him.
It's a bittersweet day because of having to trade Zach, how he's growing with us, how we drafted him. He's been at these camps that we're at right now. We've watched him grow. He went to the American League. He came up here, and then he's played really good hockey. I think he's going to do great in Montreal.
In exchange, the Canadiens sent a 22-year-old defenseman. Mailloux has played just 8 NHL games. However, he was an all-star in the AHL. He's 6'3", 215 pounds. The Blues had a surplus of wingers and a shortage of defensemen. Logan does have some baggage, though. When he was 17, during an intimate moment with a woman, he took pictures without her consent. He addressed it today.
To be honest with you, I think it's something that it's not just in the rear view for me. I think it's something that I carry with me every day. It's something that I want to be able to make a positive impact. You know, I think when I dealt with all of that in the past few years, I feel like I've grown a lot as a person off the ice. I've been around the community in Montreal. And like I said, I look forward to getting to St. Louis and being able to make a positive impact.
The Blues also added some depth at the center position. They signed Nick Butstad to a 2-year deal. He had 8 goals for Utah last season. Tomorrow night, the U.S. men's national soccer team will be on display at Energizer Park. They will face Guatemala in the semifinal round of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. In a sense, many of these players are auditioning for a spot on the World Cup squad. The U.S. men's national team coming off a thrilling win over Costa Rica in PKs. St. Louis and Tim Ream will be in the lineup. For Guatemala, it will be their first time getting to the semis since 1996, but the USA won't overlook them.
I mean, yeah, you saw what they did to Canada, right? It's for us, it's important that we focus on, it's our opportunity to get to the final. We need to focus on ourselves, of course, respecting the rival like always. But at the end of the day, it's a huge chance for everyone here to be a part of something really special.
Mizzou basketball got an oral commitment today from a special player, Scotty Atkinson from Webster Groves. This season, he became the first sophomore ever to win the Player of the Year award and a state title in the same season. He's 6'3", a 4-star guard, coming off a season where he averaged 25 points a game. Commissioner's Cup final in the WNBA in Minneapolis, Caitlin Clark, injured, did not play, but the pride of Mizzou did. Sophie Cunningham, she drained a big 3. She had 13 points, and Caitlin was fired up. The great Nafisa Collier had 12, not enough. The Fever win 74-59, and you know, when Sophie defended the great Caitlin Clark,
Yeah.
she picked up 1 million more followers on TikTok. She's
Just
a legend now.
Just because she's defending.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
All right,
Crazy.
thanks, Frank.
Saving for the 4th, the cookout items that will give you more bang for your buck.
You're not going to spend more on your 4th of July cookout this year. That's a surprise. The American Farm Bureau estimates a spread for 10 people will cost $71. That's actually down 30 cents from last year, but still the second highest since the survey began in 2013. Prices for beef and potato salad are up, while pork, chips, and hamburger buns will cost you a bit less.
Okay, this story really is for Scott Connell. Quick Trip has sold beer for years. Now the convenience store has a brew of its own. Quittin' Time beer is now being rolled out in the St. Louis market. It was originally sold in the 70s and 80s in Tulsa. QT calls it the perfect companion to celebrate the end of the workday.
All right, Kelly, pay attention. Sonic kicked off National Pickle Month today by launching its Big Dill Meal. Pickled flavored burgers, tater tots, and
Yes.
fries will be offered throughout July. And then you can wash it all down with the Pickle-A-Rita Slush, which is made with a blend of pickle juice, flavor bubbles, and tart lime. Now,
Everything but the slushy.
Yeah.
you don't want, you don't want the Pickle-A-Rita?
No, thank you.
There you have it. 5 on your side at 10. We're always streaming on 5+.
Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis, and that starts at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.